Hello folks, I'm out in the garage again today. I'm going to try to get this bed picked up and pulled back. I got the cab corners in, I think it was Monday, so I'm going to start working on those. I did want to show you how the Pour 15 turned out. I'll jump in and do that here in just a second. Well, like I said, I'm going to pull the bed back, get it out of my way so that I can work on those cab corners. Those are, as far as I know, the last things that need to be welded. So I'll get busy on that and bring you along for the ride. Okay, this is how they turned out. You can see the fiberglass that I put down in there. This is very hard, so I'm very pleased with that. The whole area dried nicely. The area here on the door was also taken care of. Weep holes, I think maybe two. So it's got one here. And I think there was supposed to be one right there, and then there's another one. Or did I cut it out? Right. Where is it? Yeah, I don't know where it is. Right there. Here it is. So there's another one there. So I think there's only supposed to be 3 weep holes. So I just need to drill one right about in here, and we should be good to go. I'll take you around the other side. Let's just see what it looks like. Also, this side turned out very nice. This somehow stayed up a little bit. The fiberglass did, but the holes that they were covering was right in here anyway, so I don't think that's going to be a big issue. I can probably just take the cut-off tool and cut that stuff off real easy, and then just prime and paint. This weep hole here, the hole is still there. The rust is gone. It's been treated where it had rusted away at the top. I'm not going to worry about that. And then, like I said, I will have to drill another weep hole right in here somewhere, and one down in here, because this patch was one down here. This patch was a lot larger than the one on the other side, on the driver's side. So I will have to drill 2 weep holes, one about here, one about here, and that should take care of it. And then again on this side, I'll run seam sealer down and through here. Once the seam sealer is in, then I'll prime and paint everything. Again, this all hardened very nicely. I'm really happy with that. All the area back up in there has all been taken care of. So I'm really happy with how the 415 turned out. So we'll have to see on the longevity of it, how it does. But that's where I stand with that. Okay, from what I can tell, I definitely don't need nowhere near the amount. I could have done with the small, that you have 2 different sizes that you can get of these, the full cab corner or the partial. And I definitely could have gotten away with the small ones. But that's okay. I can always use, spare metal laying around. But from what I can tell, there's some spot welds. Let me turn you around here. There's some spot welds right along in here, and then down in here it appears to be nothing but seam sealer between the two. Even the new piece right in there. There's nothing to weld to. So that's all evidently sealed with seam sealer, whereas this portion here gets spot welded. So from what I'm seeing, as far as the rust that needs to be repaired, just to go a little higher than the rust. If I take it all the way up to here, I should definitely be in good metal. There's rust holes right along there, and that's basically a lip that goes back behind the inner rocker panel, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with the inner rocker panel, as you can see. But all this other stuff's got to go. And you can even see inside. Let's see if I can do this without dropping the phone. You can see inside it's pretty much all black metal still. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be okay. I'm going to poke around a little bit and dig around a little bit. And if I find any rust in the inner rocker panel, then I'll weld that up before I weld up the before I put the outer rocker panel on. It does look like maybe right in there. I'll have to dig around in that a little bit, but I'll try to get this thing off, cut it off, and then bring it back in and show you what I've got. Okay. That's what we got. As you can see, this metal up in here looks pretty good. Not gonna have to worry about that at all. There's some undercoating or something up in there. The inner panel is definitely good. Just got to cut all these spot welds out somehow. Probably like I did on everything else. Just pry and pry until I get it to come out. And I did cut through the inner rocker panel here. The inner cap point, I mean. I guess that is the inner rocker panel that I'll have to weld up. But that's okay. And one might say, why in the world would you only use this much of the, especially cutting it here, making it where you have to make a long weld that way, when you could just do spot welds? But with the width of this thing being too wide anyway, I would have to cut it in the middle in order to get the door seam to line up right. So this way, I don't have to worry about it, the door seam. There's no rust in this. Everything's fine there. right in there. Gotta get that out with the weld grinder. But that way I don't have to worry about my door alignment as far as from here down goes. Everything stays the same. So, and then all I gotta do is just weld it with some spot welds here, then weld it around this way and down that way. In here I'll have to drill 2 or 3 holes, probably 2, and that'll allow this to actually drain out of the rocker panel, out of the cab corner, hopefully. And I'll have to do the same along in here. Well, about this far up, I guess. Drill about 3 holes for spot welds, and that part of it's done. Then all I have to do is worry about this and that. That's the reason why. Well, it's the next day. Got out here about around 12:30 or so. Started putting this cab corner in. It's in. My MIG welder just blowing right through this stuff. But anyway, bring it in, show you what I've got. That's it. It's in. There's no rust. Ain't beautiful. Got 4 spot welds back here like it was from the factory. We got 2 spot welds here like it was from the factory. The only problem is this, I don't know if you remember or not, this hole I didn't account for. This is going to have to all be filled with seam sealer. There's no, it's not welded to the rocker panel. So everything else is welded. There's little pit holes and stuff everywhere, but I can't seem to get this MIG welder today to make a nice bead like I did on the rocker panels, but maybe different thickness metal on the rocker panels, I don't know. But anyway, this one's done, and I'll move on to the other one to start trying to cut it out. Okay, I'm working on the other side now. As you can see, the rust hole here, the rust isn't as bad. It doesn't appear to be. It's still needing it all the way around, but it doesn't go up into there. Now, all that looks fine, but I don't know if you recall back when I sanded the truck, I noticed that there was some Bondo in this cab corner. I didn't know why, and it goes all the way up to there, which is a long ways. So evidently some kind of damage happened there, and Dad had it repaired, or had one of his buddies do it. I'm pretty sure Dad didn't do it. But it looks like what I probably should do is just mark off that full-size cap corner and go ahead and weld it in as it is. I still will have to adjust for this being off here because it's too wide. But and I'll do that in order to not disturb this body line, this door line, opening line. But I'll work on that and bring you back in. Okay, mocking this thing up just to show you how oversized this thing is. You can see here, back here, it's right on the outside of the body, but yet over here, look at the difference. That's a almost half inch difference, and it's not like a, I mean, that body line back there is sitting in there almost perfect. And then down here, look how much it hangs down. So it's definitely got some issues. It couldn't be because it's made in Taiwan, but anyway, I don't think I need the whole cab corner. I only need about to right in here. So that's what I'll do, because the rest of it is all bent and wavy. I guess something hit it along with back here. I don't know what happened or when it happened, but at some point it must have happened. So I'll go ahead and figure out about where I gotta cut it off, cut the piece off this time instead of cutting the cab corner out first. Cut the piece off, get it mocked up, and then cut the cab. Okay, so I got a rough mock-up of this thing. It fits pretty good around there. Of course, it is going to go in a little bit. I was smart enough this time to remember to leave that part down there that mates up to the rocker panel. So we'll mark this and get it cut out and see how good I do this time. Well, I got the original piece out, most of it. I still got to take all this stuff here off the spot welds where those are, and then clean all this up, as well as this down here where the old rusty stuff is. So I'll get all that off. I thought this Bondo was thicker than what it was. You can see where it actually came through the other side. Whoever, I guess somebody used a dent puller on it to pull it out. But it's not as thick as I thought it was. It's probably, when I go to make everything here look pretty, I'll probably be putting that much on it at least. But anyway, that's where we've ended up so far. Let me go ahead and pull this this part here off, get the spot welds broke loose, and I'll bring you back whenever I get to that point. Okay, like I did with the other side, I'm going to pull this back off and then clean in there and paint real good, and let that dry overnight. But that's my fitment so far. I did have enough common sense to remember that, but I'm going to have to grind some more of that lip off in order to get it to go down in there. I've cleaned most of it, I guess. I see some now that I didn't. But there's a seam sealer that they put in there. Might be holding it back some. I guess I got it a little off right here. So I'll have a little bit of filling to do there. And I got to grind all this Bondo out of here. That won't weld too good. But it looks like, for the most part, it's not a bad fit. The corners line up pretty good. Everything is cleaned up inside. All still black in there from the factory. That's not a bad thing. But like I say, I also have a little bit of metal left here that I need to grind out somehow. Looks like there's a spot weld right there somewhere that I can get out and get that piece off, because this piece here is actually part of the cab corner, or the cab itself, and the inner cab corner wraps around and just goes up straight like this. So yeah, I don't know. Let me clean this up, clean the rust or the Bondo off of this, and then clean this up and get some spray paint on it, and I'll call it a night, and be out here probably tomorrow night or sometime this week to weld this up. Hopefully I got enough MIG wire left. It's getting, that spool's getting kind of small. All right. right, I finished getting all this other piece back here out, and now this fits perfectly flush. Everything's good there. It does look like I might have a little bit of filling to do right in there, but everything else seems to line up pretty good. So you get down here, and then, like I said, I think I'm going to have to cut more of this lip off here in order to be able to weld that. Or actually, that doesn't get welded, that gets seam sealer, but I have to weld this hole here. But now everything looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint it and call it an evening. Okay, that's where I'm going to weld it. I got a little crazy on the reliefing. It looks a lot bigger in the camera than it does in person. So, and this side over here is pretty tight all the way back. It'll be interesting to weld back in there. Can't even hardly see it. And all the way down. This is now pretty even with the rocker panel. It feels just perfect right there. So I'll weld it right across here and then up. I'll do a bunch of tacks first and then get started with the welding. Okay, the welding's done. I've got got 3 spot welds back there, 3 good spot welds. We got 3 good spot welds in there. I think I got that area down there. Well, I kind of got it. Still need to fill a little red in there. I can still do that. And then down below it also, right there. So I can do that, but is that a hole or hard to tell? Right there. Kind of feels like it. But I may also try to plug up some of these holes now that I see them. They look a lot bigger on the camera than they do in person. In person, they look more like little pinholes, but then you put the camera up to it and it blows it up. But I'll probably do that off camera and then do a little bit of an outro and call it quits for this evening. Okay, folks. As far as I know, unless something else pops up, the welding on this truck is done. The cap corners, as you saw in this video, I'm sorry, it's probably going to be a little bit of a longer one if I keep all the footage, but they were a challenge for sure, especially with the welder and the limited space that I have up in there between the cab and the bed. But as far as I know, like I said, I don't think there's any more rust that needs to be repaired. When I started this whole project, I knew that I had the cab corners to do, the bed rails. I knew about the hole on the passenger side. I didn't know that I was going to have to replace the rocker panel, or the part of the rocker panel on this side. I knew about the hole in the rocker panel on the other side. So my $100 investment for the Flux core welder, I guess you could say, paid off, because otherwise I would have had to have gone out and buy a much more expensive MIG welder or something like that. But so far, as far as materials go, I've only got money so far in primer, sandpaper, which I haven't even hardly used yet, MIG wire, and that's when I actually go and paint, then of course the paint and thinner and the hardener and Japan dryer. And so far I'm well under $100 in materials. I'm pretty proud of that. The tools, I don't count those because I'll use those on other projects. And I've bought them over time. So the MIG welder, I bought it probably 5 years ago. The only thing that I did have a recent purchase of was that tool from Harbor Freight, the surface conditioning tool. That was a little over $100, $120 something, but it was well worth it. And I will for sure be using that on other projects. So I don't count the tools. The tools is something that it's a collateral damage type thing. Either you have them, or you have to borrow them, or you have to go out and buy them. And so far I've had all the tools I've needed to do this project well in advance, with the exception of that surface conditioning tool. So I'm well under budget. Now there is going to come other things that I'm going to be buying later on down the road, like carpet, window gaskets, door gaskets, things of this nature. Before we actually paint, I'm going to have my son-in-law Carl come and help me take the windows out, the front and the back windows, so that we can make sure that all of those, the tracks that are in there, are good. When we put the windshield in, I didn't prep it, but I did throw some paint on it at least, the window frame around in there, and there was no rust that I can recall at that time. So hopefully, that was several years ago. Hopefully no rust has materialized there. So far we're looking pretty good. I'll be waiting now for some warmer weather so that I can get to doing the body work. There's little dents and dings all over the truck. The one door on the passenger side is pretty uneven. I think the driver's side door is pretty good, and then there'll be a lot of body work to do on the cab corners, the bed rail, and there's two small dents on the hood. So other than that, I think we're pretty straight. I'll probably still need a couple quarts of mud, but anyway, I'm gonna call it a night tonight and call the welding done. I sure appreciate you guys coming along for the ride, and please like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions or comments, please drop them down in the comment section below. Y'all have a good evening. Bye.